Music loving amigos, we are still on cloud nine. Estamos en un super mega high because we just finished our episode of Pili, Raul La Musica with none other than legendary artist and guitar player
Carlos Santana, who was gracious with his time, and while we're in Mexico City, en el DF, to talk with this icon. It was actually just such a beautiful conversation.
guys. I'm seriously high on how beautiful this conversation was, how electrifying Santana is. I mean, we're talking about pura leyenda musical, someone who has inspired our life, our journey in so many different ways. People learn to play the guitar because of Santana. People are in the music because of Carlos Santana. People like me have such deep memories of being like in high school or college, grooving to his amazing songs and vibe. I don't know, Raul. I had goosebumps since we started the conversation with him.
Well, I was really nervous before turning on the microphone. And because I've talked about this little list that we've had before we started doing any of our interviews, where we've had a kind of like wow, it would be pretty amazing to interview somebody like this, somebody like that, this other artist, this other singer, this other songwriter. And Carlos was probably at the top, or if not very close to it.
For
And we
sure.
were like thinking, can we? Will we? Is it a possibility? And now, 3 years later, it comes to fruition. And we're like, this is actually happening, Pili. We're going to interview Carlos Santana. And sure enough, he comes on the microphone, on the conversation, and it's like, holy shit, there's Carlos
Like
right there in front of us.
literally, holy shit. I was like, I had goosebumps. After the first question and the first answer, I was like, yeah, I am in the presence of,
Greatness.
I mean, like he says, we're all dioses, pero we are in the presence of a superpower. He was very generous with this conversation. You are gonna be so uplifted by his message during this interview. I really hope you guys enjoy it. We feel so blessed and so lucky to have Santana as part of Pili Raul La Musica. As you may or may not know, he is currently on tour, and this is a very extensive tour. So make sure to check out carlossantana.com and all of his Instagram and social media. So you see when he's playing in your city. It's going to be an amazing tour. His new album, Blessings and Miracles, is out and it's amazing. And who would want to miss Carlos Santana live?
Of course.
No one.
We've gotten to see him several times, and it's a transcending experience. It's a spiritual experience. So why don't we share in some positivity with the one and only Carlos Santana right here on
Pili, Raúl y la música. Carlos, greetings from your homeland. It turns out that both Raúl and I are actually in Mexico. We're here for work. So, bienvenido to Pili Raúl La Música, this time from Mexico. What an honor, what a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much we know you're super busy, so thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us and share a little bit more about your journey. So, how has music been a catalyst for your spiritual journey?
That's a great question. Music has been a catalyst for my spiritual journey. Music in itself is a spirit that carries you across the river of life. Because of this spirit of music, I have learned to navigate and articulate a language of multidimensional, interdenominational, poly anything and everything. And because of music, I have been given the opportunity to awaken to a whole new way of looking life. For example, I don't believe in patriotism. I think patriotism is prehistoric. I don't believe in governments or religion. I believe in God and I believe in spirituality. But I don't believe in corrupt corporations that they sell you fear, because I'm a musician like Bob Marley and Billie Holiday and Marvin Gaye. For me, music, like John Coltrane, is about elevating people into a place para que se acuerden de que somos divinos. We are also divine, and we have totality. we can create blessings and miracles. And so it's important to wake people to not to feel like victims or wretched sinner or any of that stuff, because that stuff is not going to be good in your life, because you're being set up for failure, you know. So you have to say, I am worthy. I am worthy of God's grace, and I am worthy of the light that He put in me and in you.
Yeah.
Because there's only two things that guide us, either love or fear. We're choosing love.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, and we've gotten to see you perform many times over the years, and your concerts aren't just about the music, talking about the spirituality. These are spiritual events. And has this spirituality and the way you do your shows, has it always been in you, been instilled on you? And if so, by whom?
By my mother and my father, you know, like my mother and father taught me pretty much the same frequency that Marvin Gaye was on, which is spirituality and sensuality. You know, people, when they make love and they reach that point, they always say, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, yes, oh my God, more," or "Oh my," but they always say, "Oh my God," if you really, really are in it, you know.
Yes.
So for me, I learned that music, like sex, is a very sacred gift to make humans feel their totality, you know.
What's your take on time? What's your belief around time?
It's an illusion.
So, which is what I thought you'd answer, but then isn't it ironic, right? Because isn't time so important for musicians? Like timing?
No, not really. We play outside of time. For
Ooh,
example,
okay.
when Jimi Hendrix says, "Excuse me while I kiss the sky," which
Yep.
means I'm going to hug infinity, like Billie Holiday. If you and I, we were able to convince Elon Musk to help us, to let us go into one of his spaceships, you know, so we go out there, we go outside of the orbit. Time doesn't exist over there because it's just now, and here it exists because day and night, you know, 24 hours, day and night. But once you go high enough, what time is it? It's just now, you know. And I think all humans should understand that there is such a thing as outside of time is just now.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about the different dimensions and where, space and time kind of coincide. And you mentioned people like Billie Holiday, Marvin Gaye, who basically transcended, and people like Jimi Hendrix and yourself. I mean, back in the day, he basically gave you the nod and you gave him the nod, and it was kind of a mutual admiration. There's now bands that have followed your footsteps, and people like Chicano bands like Malo, Tierra, also Motley, La Santa Cecilia, more on the younger kind of tip, and basically in crediting you for their craft. Of your inspirations, what kind of takeaways have you passed on to those younger artists when they talk to you about that kind of stuff?
Well, I learned from Jose Feliciano and Mongo Santa Maria and Ray Barreto, and, you know, Los Ochimilcas, you know, Agustin Lara, you know, and all. I learned from so many, but at the same time, I learned that most of the music that I love, not probably 99.9, viene de Africa. It comes from Africa, whether it's Guajira, cha-cha-cha, danzón, merengue, cumbia, you know, everything that you can imagine. When I was a child, they used to call it música tropical because they didn't call it salsa yet. You know, they call it música tropical because the tropical music is all the islands, you know, Jamaica, Trinidad, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Cuba, you know, all of them play African music. And so once I got here to San Francisco, then I learned the blues, which is B.B. King, Freddie King, Albert King. And then I combined it together because of Olatunji and Gabor Sabo and Bola Sete. And so when we were playing music, what we opened up for Steppenwolf or Creedence Clearwater or Sly, and people would go, "What kind of music? What do you all call that music you're playing? What do you all call that music you're playing?" I go, "African," because we're playing jingo. You know, we're playing jingo. And they were like, "What the hell is that?" You know, the hippies were looking at us like we had three arms or something, you know. But they were dancing.
Yeah,
They were
moving.
dancing, you
They
know.
were feeling it.
Yeah. So I think that we were able to be in a position to give birth, along with Bob Marley, to what you call world music.
Hmm.
Back in '67, you know. But what I call world music is really the root is Africa. That's what it is. Los colores de Africa.
Well, congratulations on your newest album, Blessings and Miracles. It's truly amazing. I've been walking around the streets of La Ciudad de Mexico listening to it, and I just can't, I feel it. I really deeply feel it. Clearly, you and Rob Thomas have a connection que es above and beyond. O sea, it's miraculous. Was that amazing connection that you guys have that have led you to so many amazing songs like Smooth and this album, the new single, Move? Is that connection, was that instantaneous or was that created and it came with time?
By grace, he and I were ordained to get together and give birth to these two songs, Smooth and Move. But there's also a song that is in Espanol, with Ali Brooke. And it's a song because so many people are suiciding today, especially young people. Some people don't want to talk about it, but it's important to address the word suicide. And this song with Ali Brooke that Diane Warren wrote. And so this album is complete from A to Z to cover all the subjects, all the dimensions. I call it mystical medicine music to heal a twisted, crooked world infected with fear, darkness, and ignorance. Because of the connection with Rob Thomas and Kirk Hammett from Metallica, Santana just keeps expanding and growing. And it's fun to discover the incredible song that we got from our brother Chick Corea, before he left, and also from his wife, so I feel really, really grateful and blessed. Cindy, my wife, my lover, she plays drums on every song, and all the songs. And then there's Salvador, who contributed one song, and also my daughter, Stella.
Stella. So, yeah, it's a family affair for sure.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
There you go. Connected.
Yeah.
That really is a beautiful thing. Talking about family, talking about the album, talking about somebody like Rob Thomas, which, by the way, I'm excited to get finally my copy of the vinyl. Pili will attest to this, that I'm a huge vinyl junkie, and back home, crates and crates and crates of records, but I really, treasure that section of your vinyl. So I can't wait to pick up the vinyl of your album in the coming days to come. So thank you for that.
Para completar la colección.
Yeah, se necesita, se necesita. Y hablando de esas conexiones, como Rob Thomas y all these collaborations albums, I mean, you got members of, Kirk Hammett of Metallica. You're considered almost the crossover artist these days. But you were already known in the States and in Latin countries way before these collaboration albums. What do you think about these labels and these associations when it's like they're giving you this kind of tag these days as like a crossover artist? What do you think about that?
I've been since the beginning cross-pollinating everything that I love, because as a musician, I play life. I just play life in colors and textures. It's other people's job to call it a specific genre, like easy listening, or they got a bunch of names for compartmentalizing music, but to me it's just like water. People are thirsty. Yo soy una manguera. I'm the host, and the music is the water. It's not complicated to me. So therefore I can play in Ireland or Japan or Mexico or Africa, and I'm not a tourist. I am part of the family.
Qué lindo. Sí.
That's beautiful.
You have such a unique sound. When we hear Santana clearly. Is one of the biggest challenges to balance keeping your sound and also sounding fresh?
It's not a challenge, because anything that has to do with challenge, forgive me, but it comes from the mind. From anything from my light, luz, espíritu y alma, is seamless ease. Anything that is a challenge, just like a surfer, you're swimming upstreams and the wave is getting bigger and your arms are getting tired. That's a challenge. It's never been like that for me. Music has never been like that for me. Fortunately, musicians who invite me, whether it's John McLaughlin or Wayne Shorter or Herbie, I trust them and they trusted me. And I feel comfortable learning. I feel comfortable trusting that I will learn something forever from them, something that is good for me. And the main thing is called expansion. I'm going to expand my wings, and I don't have to come into the studio with hesitancy, uncertainty, or fear. I come in with joy because I'm going to learn something new. I'm always learning something new.
We love that about you. You know, you're a mentor to many, but you're also a student of life and the world and cultures, and you know, life is definitely that. It's a continuous thread of learning and lessons, and you know, even you're like you just said, it's like you're constantly learning and trying new things. So, what has been kind of the biggest thing you've learned lately, like in the last couple years? As we know, we've had some crazy challenges.
What I learned lately is that um, me being conscious, aware that I am light, spirit, and soul, those three things don't need chicken soup. Only the ego needs chicken soup, you know? So it's a lie to when you have books, chicken soup for your soul. Mentiras, you know, your soul and your spirit and your light do not need chicken soup. It's only the ego that needs chicken soup because, you hurt my feelings. Anything to do with hurting your feelings has to do with ego, you know? So light, spirit, and soul, they're immutable, indestructible. And so what I learn now more than ever is that this is why children are so incredible. Like Jesus says, you can't get into heaven unless you become like a child, because children bring three things: purity, innocence, and enthusiasm. So when you show up, like for me, I imagine being a Mexican who just crossed the border. I'm 7 years old. Somebody gave me a big roll of tickets to go on all the rides in Disneyland, and I can eat anything I want
E-tickets.
to. Yeah, so for me it's been paid for since I got here. I just feel like by grace I just show up and it's paid for.
Talking about books, I know that A Course in Miracles is an important book for you. Ed Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now also is an important book for you. And by the way, everyone who's listening to us right now, please do check out carlossantana.com. His website gives you a bunch of really great books that are highly recommended. Do you actually practice A Course in Miracles? And how are you constantly in the now?
Yeah, there's three books that I do constantly dip into: A Course in Miracles, J.J. Hutak's Kiso Binak, Book of Knowledge, and of course the Urantia book. I don't dip too much in books that they sell you fear, like God is Godzilla and he's vengeful. Vengeance is mine, said the Lord. I'm like, no, that's Godzilla. My God is love. He don't know vengeance. My God does not know judge and condemn or send you. My God doesn't see sin, because the God that I believe is too big for any book to be contained. He's bigger. God is bigger than any book or any ideology or any philosophy. When you look at the stars at night, the galaxies, all of that don't fit on a book, you know?
So like when someone asks you, how would you describe Putin?
Como pendejo,
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
you know, spiritually speaking, como un pendejo, that is making the same mistakes that other people made. And the same mistake that people like that make is called, they have a lust for power. They don't understand the power of love. They don't have the power. They don't understand the power of love. They have a lust for power. So he's not doing nothing new. All
No.
he's doing is the same thing that Hitler did or other people have done. And hopefully we will learn collectively this time not to allow anyone and not follow, criminals and butchers anymore. I think we must follow your own light. Don't follow anybody anymore. You know, so when you follow your own light, you're one with Jesus and Buddha and Krishna and Allah, Rama, la Virgen de Guadalupe. Because lo que es luz es divino. Follow, sigue la luz y lo que es divino. No sigas a pendejos. Porque estás contribuyendo a algo que es muy doloroso para el mundo.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, they're just instilling fear. I mean, that's really, when you say somebody trying to get power, they do it by instilling fear. And that's the beauty of the way you carry yourself and you talk about life, that it's joy, it's positivity, squash the fear, squash the sin. It's not about that. It's about looking towards the light and being positive. And I know you talk about family with this as well, family being such an important part of your life and with your career and with your children now as young adults growing up in this industry, I mean, you've managed to exemplify kind of like how important it is to strengthen this unity and avoid certain pitfalls, which is not an easy task. Kind of how has this helped you, not just family directly, but kind of everybody that you encounter and to try to avoid certain pitfalls?
My mother, Josefina, instilled in me, um, she said, with very, very conviction, divine determination and conviction, eso no es para ti. And that means cocaine or heroin or anything like that. Eso no es para ti, you know? And the way she said it, even when she wasn't in the room and it was showed up and I with my friends in high school, I heard her voice. Eso no es para ti. That is not for you. So she instilled in my conscious, she tattooed in my subconscious something that I obey because I knew it would be my demise. You know, it would
Right.
be, so the whole rock star thing and drugs and this and that. I like medicine. You know, you can smoke weed and that's medicine because the sun made it with the earth. Medicine, drugs people make in a laboratory,
Right.
you know?
There's a big difference.
Yeah. And medicine God makes through the sun, photosynthesis, you know, with plants and everything. So I give all the credit to God and my mother for me being consistent with not make really hurtful, scars or anything like that. You know, I mean, she did teach me to obey more and more the inner, my subconscious mind, the voice of reason, divine reason, you know.
At the beginning of the interview, you mentioned that you don't really believe in corporations. Do you believe in the music industry?
No, I have never looked at, like people say, well, you know, in the industry, some people say, well, what do you say to young people about joining the industry? I go, I don't know the industry. I never known the industry. I just know a way of life. And everything that comes to me, whether to Clyde Davis and all the record companies, Sony, Columbia, BMG, you know, all of them, they come and go. I stay, you know. The musician like Beethoven said to a king, kings come and go, but there's only one Beethoven, you know? And it is like that with music. Real musicians stay beyond the record company labels, you know, because sometimes they sell it to McDonald's or they sell it to Sony or they say, that's okay. You know, I respect and honor people like that, but they don't control me or they don't tell me what to play or who to be. You know, they work with me, not against me, and I don't work against them. So I convince them and they convince me that juntos we can make a new child that can make a lot of people happy.
How would you best describe the universe in which you enter when you are in a musical trance while playing?
It reminds me when I was very, very young and I first had my first French kiss.
Okay, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on.
Tell us more.
And when you feel that jolt, and especially when, you know, the lady's beautiful and she didn't slap you, she actually liked it and she welcomes you for you to continue to, como se dice, probar el jardín, you know? So for me, that's what music is sensation, emotion, feelings. If it doesn't have any feeling, emotions, and passion, it's not music. It's just noise.
Oh, you've been able to do so many things throughout your career, Carlos, and you like I said, you've inspired many generations, cultures, and you doing so much in your vast career. If there's anything that you could redo, is if there's anything that you would be able to do differently, something maybe that you never had the opportunity to do that maybe you wish you could have done, and maybe you still aspire to do, what would that be?
Or even play with someone who's not in this plane with us anymore and you didn't get a chance to play with.
That's easy. Billie Holiday, Marvin Gaye, John Coltrane, Bob Marley, you know, a few musicians like that, you know, especially women, Mahalia Jackson, you know, but basically Etta James, Nina Simone. We did a song, Game of Love, with Tina Turner, you know, but I think my love is basically, it always goes back to the woman first because I learned so much from them, how to walk, the way they walk when they feel really sassy, but and the way they articulate, when they put the hand under la cadera, and they start shaking their head, and you're like, oh shit. You're like, oh shit, oh shit, I better, straighten up and fly right, Like I learned so much from my mother and my sisters, and my daughters about pórtate bien y don't embarrass me. And embarrass yourself. Don't embarrass la familia, I think they asked one time Arthur Ashe, the great tennis player, a question. And he says, well, what do you say to young people? What do you advise? And he says, don't do anything that you wouldn't do in front of your mother.
Oh, that's a great answer.
Good advice. Yeah. Good advice.
So you're preparing to go off on your amazing tour. It's a long ass tour. We're so excited. You're hitting US, Canada, a bunch of places. How excited are you?
I'm really excited because I'm going on tour with my brothers, Earth, Wind, and Fire. We toured with them in 1975. They opened up for us in Europe because they were not knowing yet. They were just coming out. And so they opened up for us in all through Europe. And we're doing it again. This is that was 75, and now it's, 2022. And so I feel really, really excited because we get to travel with them and hopefully do 3 or 4 songs in the middle of the set with both bands together at the same time.
That's going to be amazing.
Oh my God.
Talk about collaborations. That's going to be beautiful.
Todos los que nos están escuchando, por favor, compren sus boletos para la gira de Carlos Santana. It's going to be freaking amazing. We cannot wait to see you live on stage, taking us to all those amazing places that you take us through your music, your sound, and your light.
Well, thank you. We're also looking forward to doing another tour with our favorite bands. Maná, I'm going to ask him, what are the new bands that we can travel with, because I like to coexist with the new generation, So last time we did a tour with Maná was Maná and also Matli, in Santana. And so I think it's time for us to do something again with our dearest brothers from Maná.
Qué rico.
What was really funny is we've had Ozo Motley on the podcast before.
They're good friends.
And they're really dear friends. And they were saying about that tour and that they were backstage and it was like if after the show or something, and that they were playing and singing and playing music on a boombox. And then you walked in and basically the room got quiet. And everybody's all like, Carlos is in the house. He's in the room. And if everybody just stops and listens. And you came in and you basically, I'm paraphrasing, but they said something like, no, let's keep the party going. Let's have fun, and that's what you're about, the positivity and spreading the joy. And, it's people that look up to you like that and go like, this is Carlos Santana. You got to respect and recognize. But you come in and you talk about that younger generation where it's like, let's embrace.
Yeah.
And let's continue this positivity.
Unity.
Yeah. Enthusiasm is very important, to complete this conversation, you remember Berlin Wall came down, the Wall of China didn't work, and this other wall, another pendejo, Trump, put in there, wall come down. All the walls come down because all the walls begin in the mind with fear, So we say, make the table longer, not the wall taller. Let's feed people, let's heal people. I aspire to create in Tijuana, Juarez, and a couple other places, great places as big as Costco's or Walmart or whatever, and fill them up with food and feed people. Create a center called self-worth because people need self-worth. This is why people suicide because they're too much invested emotionally in being a victim, And so I just want to create not only with music, but I want to create places where people can be nourished with clean food, good food, clean clothes, and great education, and give people an opportunity to blossom. The sky is the limit when you have 3 things connected. Luz, espíritu y alma. Con eso sí se puede. Con Dios no hay imposible,
Well, de eso se trata. Well, really quick, and just to close it up, because we really thank you for your time, and you are a very caring, giving, generous person. And the idea of paying it forward comes to mind a lot when we think of you. And you've said it yourself, energy is best served by being of soulful service to humanity. And
There
this
it
with your
is.
Milagro Foundation, now coming up on 15 years. So congratulations on that, doing wonderful things for now over what, 18 countries. You guys have, sent over 8.5 million to deserving grantees. So thank you for doing what you do, Carlos.
Igualmente, gracias por transmitir una frecuencia de que puede traer unity and harmony and awareness of our totality and our divinity. Muchas gracias.
Wow. Gracias, Carlos.
Paz y amor, señor. Gracias.
A ustedes. Stay precious.
I'm sitting on the floor and I almost fell off the floor. If that can be said, like if you're sitting on a chair, you almost fall off the chair. I'm on the floor. If I can fall off the floor, I would be falling off the floor right now, because that conversation was absolutely incredible and so uplifting, and the sharing of joy and positivity that somebody like Carlos Santana has on the music industry, on culture, on life, as he talks about, it's really a beautiful thing to witness.
Undoubtedly, this episode was una experiencia religiosa. Again, so blessed and fortunate and grateful for Santana for everything he's done for us, but also for spending over half an hour with us while in the middle of a tour. So, gracias, Santana and his team. Thank you, our listeners, for supporting Pili, Raul La Musica. Of course, thank you, Jack Daniels, for being here for us to be able to create this space so we can have these type of conversations. Raul, thank you for being the best host. Camilo, best producer. We just have a great team. What can I say?
Yes. We even have, because we're here in Mexico City, in el DF, because we're out here for Vive Latino, we got to thank Fernanda, because she allowed us to come into her space.
Fer Uli, we love you, from the Mexican Standoff. Make sure to check out her band. Fer provided us with her studio.
Lucky,
her dog. Yes, we were so lucky we're just lucky to have friends like Fernanda, and just lucky to be able to do what we do and interview people like Santana. Again, we apologize, guys. We apologize because we're in cloud nine. Estamos en un high, cabrón, como decimos en Puerto Rico. And I don't know how I'm going to get down, because why? I'm going to just go up. I'm going to go to La Ciudad de Mexico and just scream on the top of my lungs. We interviewed Santana!
Well, it was a lot of fun. It was a blast. And we will catch you on an upcoming edition of Pili, Raul, and La Musica.
Ciao!
Bye!